right, in this podcast, we are going to learn how to convert decimals into fractions and percents. So in your notes, write converting decimals at the top. And our first example is going to be 375 thousandths. To change this to a fraction, we're going to put it over the number 1, because if you divide any number by 1, you get that same number, right? 5 divided by 1 is 5, 7 divided by 1 is 7, and so on. So this is still the same number, we're not changing it at all. Once we have our decimal over 1, we want to move the decimal place 3 places. And since we did that in the numerator, we have to do the same thing in the denominator. So I'm going to add 1.00, and I'm going to move it 3 places. So now we have the fraction 375 over 1,000. Now I need to reduce this. And I have no idea what the greatest common factor of 375 and 1,000 is. I'm a smart teacher, but I'm not that smart. But I know that 375 ends in a 5, and 1,000 ends in a 0, so I know they're both divisible by 5. So that's what I'm going to start out with. 375 divided by 5 is 75. And 1,000 divided by 5 is 200. Now I have much smaller numbers to work with, and I see the number 75 and 200, and I think, well, 75 cents and $2, so they're both divisible by 25, right? We can make quarters out of 75 cents and $2. So I can do 75 and 200 divided by 25. If you can't see that, just keep dividing by 5 until you can't divide by 5 anymore. So 75 cents divided by a quarter would give me 3 quarters, right? And $2 divided by 25 cents would give me 8 quarters. So now I have the fraction 3/8, and I can't divide those by any other numbers. So that is my final answer, 3/8. Now I'm going to take the fraction, or the decimal, 2.25, and change that into a fraction. So using the same method, we're going to put the number over 1, and then we want to move that decimal point. So in the numerator, I'm moving it twice, so I have to add a 1.00 and move that decimal twice also. So now I have the fraction 225 over 100. And then I can think, okay, $2.25 and $1. I can both divide both of those numbers by quarters. So I'm going to divide those by 25. So $2.25 into quarters, that would give me 9 quarters. And $1 divided by 25 cents would give me 4 quarters. So now I have the fraction 9/4. And here I have an improper fraction because the numerator is bigger than the denominator. So to change this to a mixed number, we have to divide top in, bottom out. Top number goes inside, bottom number goes outside. 4 goes into 9 twice. 2 times 4 is 8. And I have 1 left over. So this number right here, the 2, is my whole number. I have 1 left over, which is my numerator. And I was dividing by 4, which is my denominator. So that gives me 2 1/4 as my final answer. And the last part of this video, we're going to learn how to convert percents, not fractions, percents. So if I have 32% and I want to change that to a decimal, I take the number 32, my decimal is at the end of 32, that would be 32.0, and I have to move that decimal 2 places to the left. And that gives me 32 hundredths. Another example would be 578%. So now I have the number 578.0, so the decimal's at the end. I want to move that decimal 2 places to the left. So now I have 5 and 78 hundredths. And then my last example is going to be 6%. So I have the number 6, my decimal is at the end, and I'm still going to move it 2 places to the left. 1, 2. Now I have to have a 0 placeholder right there where that empty space is. So that gives me 6 hundredths.